I'm muted. Good. I can say anything I want. Hey, I want to try to do this whole deal without moving my list this week. He's like, what happened? That's like really strange.
Are you having a stroke?
No, I was going to try to mess y'all up, and I was going to talk without moving my list this week, and you guys are like, boy, this is a really weird deal. All right. Again, you go back and get ready for this week's game. You go back on last week's game, and after you watch tape, and, you're not – for us, and met with the team this morning, just going through things. You're not going to beat a team like Alabama making all the mistakes that we made during the course of that game in each phase. But I tell you what, we talk about the attitude of our players, the mindset of our players, and even falling behind early. Our ability to make corrections during the course of the game, to stay focused, to continue to grind, continue to play hard, and give ourselves an opportunity to win the game at the end. There's a lot that they can build off of that, and obviously they're going to need to. Quick turnaround, huge rivalry game against Tennessee coming up this weekend here at the Swamp. I mean, our guys, we got to get, when you go into big games like that, you come out sometimes, the physical wear and tear and the mental wear and tear of a big game, but we got to turn that around quickly for even a bigger game this week. And, all the Gator fans need to go, maybe get some, warm tea and lemon, make sure their throats are refreshed, because we need an even more raucous environment this Saturday night to continue to give the home field advantage. I think you saw how the effect that had on the game last week, and how it lifted our team up, and hopefully we need the Gator Nation back out to show out this week. So what do you guys got?
Hey Dan, you just touched on it, but we don't get to see the Swamp like that very often, probably not often enough for you. What can you do? What do you think, other than winning, what can you do to make it like that, every other week or every time out?
I don't know. I mean, I put on my marketing hat real quick, and I just hope, it is fun. I certainly, obviously the end of the game didn't come out the way we want to, but the environment of being in a college football stadium, the environment of being, to that type of environment, that excitement to our student body. I mean, if you're a college student, I don't know how much that's got to be just fun to even be in that environment, that energy, that excitement that everybody just feels that while they were there. I think that's a huge thing, and I think there's passionate Gator fans out there, and I think they need to understand that they are critical in the success of this team. They have an important role, by showing up and creating that energy, that environment, that excitement, like they've done for the first two games. You go back game one, it was a great environment. Obviously, last Saturday was a crazy environment, and we keep that going. I think it does nothing but helps the current team, helps the program long term, and I certainly hope everybody enjoys being in there and feeling that energy and excitement and being a part of that game day environment. I'll sing. If they want to give me a mic pregame, I'll go sing or do a little dance routine, whatever we need. It'll help people come, I'll do what we need.
I like it. Don't take this as an indictment on last year's running or this year's passing, but have you ever been part of this kind of dramatic turnaround? I mean, you led the nation in passing last year. You're number 2 in the nation in running this year. I mean, how do you explain that, other than patting yourself on the back?
No, it really isn't that. It is, I think it just shows within what we've done, and fortunately, having kind of built this offense a long, long time ago and being there from the beginning, being there through all the different changes of it throughout the years. When you understand the offense inside now, the key to it, learning through the years, is making sure that we had the flexibility to match our players and our personnel. I don't think I've learned, and I probably through many years and many mistakes, you learn to sit there and say, hey, okay, we have this great system, but the worst thing I can ever say as a coach is I have a great system, but it doesn't fit the players that we have. So I guess it won't work. Ours is to always make sure it has enough adaptability. Okay, there we go. Adaptability within the system to make sure it fits whatever our personnel is at a given time. And so I bet we have. If you probably look back through the years, there's sways back and forth. And it's still early in the year. I think statistics sometimes sway one way or the other a little bit earlier and balance out a little bit more as the year goes on. But it's just us doing what our guys do well.
Edgar.
Yeah, even so, you guys are the first team to rush 6+ against Bama since Ohio State in the playoffs in 14, apparently. So you're obviously, this team has an identity around the football, which and didn't the last 2 years as much.
Yeah.
So when did you kind of develop this ability to kind of adjust? Because I don't think I think you'll even admit you can be a little stubborn probably about some stuff. And
Me?
Shocking.
No.
But the point being, when did you get this ability? When did the light go on of how to do this and be able to change like you're able to now?
You know what? I think early on, we went, created an offense. If you go back to when we kind of created this offense at Bowling Green a long time ago, and you're kind of playing with it and learning it, went to Utah and had a lot of success with a lot of really good football players. And then came to Florida. And at that point, I think to make it into a short story, we come to Florida and think we have all the answers. Like we have this unbelievable offensive system, right, that we've created. And hey, it worked at Utah, and we got to Florida, and we're going to have even better players here at Florida. So, we have all the answers. And we didn't. It didn't quite fit the personnel that was here at that time. And so you kind of all of a sudden take a step back and say, how do we adjust what we're doing to make sure it fits the personnel that we have? And then from that point, it kind of continued to grow and continued to expand. And the great thing you had in the back pocket was as it kind of changed from year to year, you still knew the origins, So, and I guess you're fortunate as a coach. And you got to be careful. It's always good. You have new guys. You have like a Garrick McGee's new in the room this year. And, and Bruce new. And, now Greg Knox been there for a while. Hevesy, Billy Gonzalez have been there for a while. But, those guys, sometimes you'll come up with something and say, hey, we need to get back to doing this. And some of the new guys are looking at you like, what are you even talking about? And you go back and you're saying, hey, this kind of fits this mold here of where we are. And we just have I guess we're fortunate to have a bunch of years of knowledge of doing this, of how to make it fit all the different styles of personnel that we've had over the last 20 years.
How much self-belief does that require, Dan? Because it's like, we both love golf. These guys make these swing changes, and it can take a while, and, right? You're like switching on the fly, and you got to really believe.
Yeah, my swing changes. Yeah, my son says that to me all the time. They're like, hey, did you see that? I'm like, absolutely did not. I have no idea what you're doing and what you're even talking about. I grip it and rip it and hope for the best. And But I do think, you look and you get a feel for the personality of the team and sit there and say, hey, what's the best way that these guys do things? And, and I'll be honest with you, no two teams are the same. It's not like, hey, okay, we're doing exactly what we did in 2016 or 17 or whatever, or 2009 we did this. But it is having enough stuff that you can fall back on and then finding the comfort level that this year's guys have of what they do well and making sure it fits their abilities. And, I don't know. I think we have a really good coaching staff that comes up with good plans, that's able to teach the guys the right way. We have good players that have we teach them a big foundation of the offense in spring and training camp so that they have this great foundation so that we can make slight changes here and there throughout the season based on the foundation of knowledge they have.
I was talking about real golfers, Dan, not us.
Yeah, not
All
us.
right, thank you.
David Waters.
Coach, bigger games on the schedule, mainly Alabama and Georgia. Those opposing offenses have had success early in the games. You mentioned a couple times this season you'd like to get off the field early in these first couple games as well. What plays into the opposing offense success early in games, and what could be addressed to get off the better start?
Well, I think some of it for us is getting into the flow of the game, and making sure we get caught up to the speed of the game and the noise of everything that's happening. We had a couple communication issues in the beginning of the game, and we talked about our guys all week. It is a big game where there's going to be a lot of emotion. Our guys are fired up, and there's a tremendous amount of physical noise in the stadium. And making sure we are, just focused, not just the emotion and the fired up part of it all, just the complete focus on our execution and doing what we're going to do. So I think we just got to be a little cleaner that way.
One more. Going back to 2019, you said you thought the run game would look better in the season than it did because they played so well in preseason camp, but it never really came around that year.
Yeah.
Was the run game looking like this in fall camp this year, or are you surprised it's taken off like it has?
No, I think, sometimes in fall camp it's always hard. I'm trying to think. So 2019, maybe our run defense, sometimes you get in fall camp, are we running the ball well offensively, or are we not a great run defense? Or are we throwing the ball well, or are we not a good pass defense? Or our defense can stop the run, and their defense is shutting the run down, or we're just not a good run team. So I don't remember any of that from 2019. I'd have to go look into all that stuff from 2019. I'm sorry. But I think a lot of that, I think in this fall camp, I thought we felt comfortable running the ball certain ways. But in a lot of ways, too, you get into camp, and to me, there's so much instruction. I talk to our guys all about this. We're never trying to win in training camp. The offense isn't trying to, in training camp. The offense essentially is not just trying to beat the defense, and the defense isn't just trying to beat the offense. Obviously, you're competing, and you want to create competitive atmospheres and competitive things all the time. But on a daily basis, there's a lot of instruction that goes on. And, part of that, and it gets back to what we talked about, the other part of what we talked about is we have this foundation of knowledge that we can pull from and adapt to make the team better and to make these adjustments during the course of the year that you need to. And so you get more into that instead of saying, hey, boy, we can just go run this play and pound away at our defense all practice long. I need to make sure everybody understands when this is why this is a good play, this is why this isn't a good play, here's the adjustments we need to make to it, and they have a deep understanding of that within all the players do.
Cassidy.
What would be your song and dance of choice?
I don't know. That'd be interesting. We'll have to see. You know what I mean? We're here. Well, Florida, maybe
I can submit some suggestions.
What do you got?
Maybe before the cocktail party, do Reba the night the lights went out in Georgia.
There we go. Yeah, but we don't. I don't think we need to worry about tickets for that one. That's up in Jacksonville. I don't think anybody needs to worry about the attendance of that game. That'll be. I think that'll be a pretty good atmosphere.
Do some Charlie Daniels before this one or something.
We need some. I don't know. We're in Florida. Maybe Jimmy Buffett will come by or something and
Jimmy Buffett's not from Florida. You gotta stop
sing the national anthem. But yeah, but
he's from Mobile.
It's all right. He can still come. He can still come here.
Well, that's true. Okay, we'll get to actual football now. You said you wanted to see a response from the guys. Mm-hmm. Have you been around them yet?
Yeah, we had a meeting this morning. I thought it was pretty positive. To me, it's going to translate more onto the field. I think this morning's meeting is understanding here's what we did well, here's what we did poorly, here's the mistakes we made, here's the way that we need to correct it moving forward. And so it's going to be more this afternoon and tomorrow and the next day of us making those adjustments within our preparation to make sure that we are completely detailed and lifting each other up as a team. I think that's a big deal. When you're in these situations that you want all the guys sitting there, and are we looking and saying, hey, okay, our attention to detail, the exactness that we have, are we making sure we're holding each other accountable, but doing that in a positive, lifting guys up manner to get the results that we need and the improvement we need in our production and performance on Saturdays.
And then just two quick logistical questions. First, there were, of course, 4 DPIs on Saturday. Were there any of them that y'all wanted to send to Birmingham? And if you did, maybe the Helm one, for example, did you get a response yet?
I'm not going to get into any of those. So.
Okay. And then there was a tweet on social media from Lorenzo Lingard after the game. Have you talked to him? What's sort of his mindset, especially with such a deep running back unit?
Yeah, I think the guys want to play and guys are competitive and want to get on the field. And I think guys, at different positions, I think, as I said, it's a long season. There's a lot of opportunities. We talked about that with guys, one of the interesting ones, if you looked in our first 2 games, right, the tight ends, I don't think had many catches, and they had a bunch on Saturday. And so within how the game plan works, from week to week, how we want to attack a team, what they're giving us. I think there's ebbs and flows in that. And I think, if guys, especially, as guys get into it and the younger guys understand it, you manage that by the end of the season. And you try to explain it to those guys. Last year we had Kyle Pitts here, and there were games where he'd come and I'd say, hey, he'd come like, hey, I might not have many catches or touches this game because how they're going to try to eliminate me from the game, but that's going to open up a lot of other things. And there's a certain, you got to have that understanding, that maturity of understanding that, hey, through the course of a season, I'm going to have all my opportunities to make plays.
Thank you.
You're
Look
welcome.
forward to seeing what you perform on Saturday.
Josh.
Hey, Coach Mullen, how's it going?
Great.
So after that Emory pick, I know Bama stunned it, and I guess Xavier's route wasn't finished. And then to go up 21-3. What was his body language, and what did you tell him? Because the resilience and fight I thought was more so after that.
Yeah, I think it was fine. I think he came off the field. He made the right read. He had pressure, and he was just trying to anticipate the throw, on a third down play to make a play before the sack came. And we just went through that. I'm like, so I think in those scenarios, that's very different. If you look at, say, his interception, he kind of threw it right to the flat defender against South Florida, just a poor read. He made a great read, and as he's getting hit and trying to anticipate the throw, the ball sailed on him just a little bit and resulted in the interception. So I think that it was one of those where he understand, hey, I'm in the flow of the game. This happened. Coach, I'm trying to make a play. I made the right read. I'm trying to get it done. And I agreed with him completely. I said, hey, that's a heck of a job. And, let's get on to the next play. And I think that, for him, it was really interesting. That he kind of played tight, I thought, in the first 2 games a little bit. And, then we go play Alabama and, he's kind of what we expected him to look like, he's kind of relaxed out there making the plays that we've seen him make all during training camp. So, and I think even in that scenario, he knew, I'm right where I needed to be. We just, as a whole team, didn't execute the play.
And obviously, you said Saturday there was missed assignments. Obviously, on that stunt, maybe the tackle on the guard could have been more hip to hip. It wasn't perfect, but how much do you think the offensive line improved in that Bama game?
I think they've, we've done some good things up front. I think they're playing pretty well for, especially, in the run game, play action pass. We're doing some good things, getting better. That was a pretty good defensive front we played there. And, but I thought we were able to move the ball, pretty consistently through the course of the game. And, and overall played pretty well.
Thanks, Coach.
Matt Baker.
Hey, Dan, let me follow up on the Emory stuff. How big do you think Saturday's performance was for kind of his long-term development?
Hopefully, we'll see. I don't know. Hopefully it makes him relax and play that way consistently now. That's, the hard part is, our body of work isn't much. It's from practice. That's what we've seen from him leading into the season. A guy that kind of, makes the right plays, makes the right check. Usually getting the ball to the right read and making pretty good decisions in the run game, and then using his athletic ability to improvise and make some things happen on top of that. That's what we've seen a whole bunch of. And so, I think for him, hopefully it does lead to, maybe a comfort level He can just take, and know that, hey, you know what, I'm fine. Now I've got a couple games under my belt. I can be a little more relaxed and go make plays out there on the field.
Is that kind of a common thing for quarterbacks first year as a starter? It takes a little bit to kind of get comfortable.
Yeah, at some point, with different guys, I think everybody's so different. Everybody is just so different in their approach and how they handle it and what goes on. I do know this. I always joke with all the young guys. We have 2 freshman quarterbacks. I said, hey, if Anthony's not at 100%, if something happens with an injury, you guys might have to get in the game. And they're all excited. And the 2 other guys look, and I laughed at them. And I said, hey, it all sounds like fun and games until you step on that field and you're looking at Alabama's defense. There's 90,000 people in the stadium. There's millions of people watching on TV at home. And you realize where you are in that one moment. And it's not all fun and games and cool anymore. It's like, whoa, it kind of hits you. So you always got to see how those guys respond when they're put in that situation.
And then one more basic question on Tennessee. What jumps out to you when you watch the first couple games under Heupel?
You know what, they're defensively, they're certainly playing hard. I watch the guys play hard. They're very very physical up front, play really fast, get off the ball on the defensive front. Guys running the ball, the energy they're playing with defensively. You look at 2 of the games, they've held opponents under 6 points. And guys flying around. And then offensively, they do a good job getting the ball to playmakers in space, and of spreading you out, playing with tempo, and, and spreading the ball around. A lot of different guys with catches on the team. They're going to spread it to a lot of different people. And so, it's going to be a big challenge for us to make sure that we're playing at an extremely high level.
Ryan? Ryan looks frozen. Is that Goodall?
Hey, Dan, it looked like Jason Marshall split snaps pretty evenly with Avery at corner. What does that say about his progress to this point? 3rd game of his career, coming in and playing that much against Alabama.
Yeah, I think, obviously taking advantage of the opportunity, and you have an unfortunate injury like we had to Jaden Hill. The injury it creates opportunities for guys, and and I know it's unfortunate, but he's taking advantage of that opportunity, and it's also helping us create depth. It's a long season, and when you lose a starter, the trickle down effect of it. It's not just the next guy in the game; it's your overall depth that you got to be concerned about, and so I'm pleased with how he's picked it up and his ability to get out there on the field and go play.
Zach Alberti.
Hey, Dan, going back to Emory, he mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and I think you might have mentioned it too, about how his role has obviously basically changed from when he was in kind of the second string coming into the game with no pressure, just gets a few packages, to now he's the guy. 2-part question. How do you feel like he's adjusted to that the first couple of games, but how much of it with Anthony kind of coming into the game and having to be part of that rotation is maybe taking him a little bit longer to get used to that? And then secondly, with Anthony out of the game, what do you feel like that felt for him to just have a whole game to himself and know that there was going to be no rotation?
Well, I think they know the plan going into the game, so I don't know if there's much of an issue with the rotation aspect of it. He knows, just like he knew he was going to go into the game when he was the number 2 guy and there's no pressure. He knows that was going to happen with Anthony coming in. So I don't know if that has much of an effect on things. I do think, when you get into that role of being the starter, and it's not just, hey, okay, the responsibility. I have all the checks. I'm not just coming in there and, hey, here's my plays. I'm really comfortable with these. But, it's the weight of the entire game plan, the weight of the leadership of the team and how the team expects you to lead them. There's a lot that goes with that, and then, you get in there and you want to do things right. The one thing, if I do look, with Emory, and he understands that from watching the guys perform, he wants to, I think maybe the pressure to be the pressure of exactness and the pressure of detail and the pressure of knowing you have this entire game plan that we expect you to go execute at an extremely high level is a different pressure than even though I know you're a snap away from going into the game, from knowing, hey, I'm going in to run a couple of plays and I'm going to go have some fun and make some things happen while I'm on the field. And, that takes some getting used to.
I guess what I'm trying to ask, do you think it's hard, has it been harder for him in the first 2 games to get into a rhythm because of the rotation, or was it easier Saturday because there was none?
No, I don't think so. I think it just is the same because they knew what we were going to do anyway going into the game. So they knew, hey, I'm going to be in this series, that series. And, Emery's been around long enough to know. He's seen it before. He's watched Felipe Franks do it. He's watched Kyle Trask do it. You know what I mean? So, and to know that how to handle that stuff. So.
And then secondly, your rush defense, you guys held Alabama to under 100 yards rushing. That's just the third time since 2014 that an opponent has done that to Alabama. What do you feel like you guys did well with your run defense? I'm sure there's some missed tackles that you'd like to get back.
Yeah, I thought we played well. I thought Todd put our guys in a good position to make plays. I thought our guys really ran to the ball hard, but again, too many missed tackles, especially some on the perimeter. Especially early in the game, really kind of hurt us, but once we got into the speed of the game, I think we really kind of played physical up front, and we're able to control the line of scrimmage, you look at the game and some of our errors, our inability to get off of third down, but through them getting, penalties to stay on the field, or a missed tackle, or a missed assignment on third down, and some red zone misses defensively. But overall, when you look at the defensive performance as a whole, besides little things we got to get cleaned up, which you're not going to win big games making those mistakes. But there's a lot that we can build off of in a positive manner from things we've seen. That if we can clean up the errors, we have a chance to have a pretty good defense.
Thanks, Dan.
Ryan looks to be back.
Yeah, sorry about that. Glitch Wi-Fi just decided I shouldn't ask a question today, but I'm trying to get around it. I wanted to ask about the other 5. Alabama kind of tested Kyrie Elam early in the game, and he had an uncomfortable looking injury in the first half. I wanted to ask what you thought of his performance and how he's feeling physically.
Yeah, he's doing fine. I think everybody's a little bit beat up today. We'll see how we respond on the practice field this afternoon. I thought he responded. I thought our secondary played very aggressive, obviously pass interferences are on both, whether it's offensive or defensive pass interference can be a judgment call, I guess. But I thought our guys played pretty aggressively and were able to hang with their receivers. And I thought, Kyer had a real solid day with them trying to go after him early, and he responded, and I think they kind of got away from going after him.
Mullen.
Hey, Dan, I don't expect we're going to get any offensive line grades today, but, who impressed you, and did that game sort of validate what you had seen in practice with that group and certainly what they did the first 2 weeks against defensive fronts that, obviously aren't Alabama?
Yeah, I thought overall they played solid. I think we had 4 guys grayed out on the offensive line. We had 7 guys played, 4 of them graded out during the course of the game. So, a solid performance. Not, still things we can improve on. Some little things here and there, but obviously we did play. That was an excellent defensive front that we played. Some talented players, and those guys had a good understanding of the game plan. And what we needed to do within the game. And I thought overall, you're not looking there. The negative on the game, we got to win the game. We didn't win the game, so that's the bottom line. There's no moral victory. There's nothing. Okay. For me to come out and say that we played poorly, I can't say that, but we did make, you're not going to make the mistakes that we made and win that type of a game. So I do think there's a lot of things that we have to look at, and we have to embrace the positives, okay, and we got to correct the negatives, and that includes the offensive line, but everybody. And if we're able to do that, we got to do it in a hurry. We got to come back. you don't get much time to catch your breath with, you know, Tennessee coming to town. So, but that's part of being in the SEC.
And did Lance, show you anything? I mean, playing on a bad wheel a week after USF and, coming in and out. I mean, being a super team.
Yeah, I mean, they were, I don't think anybody played poorly. A couple mistakes, again, a couple errors here and there. I think had a false start penalty, which is, those aren't judgment calls. Those are, they are or they're not. And, and he, I handled himself fine.
Thank you, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Goldie.
Hey, Dan, is there any more testing that Anthony's going to have to go through before he's ready to play? I know you said you were feeling a little more positive.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to test everything out again this week. Through the week, be a very similar approach. We'll probably do a little bit more practice. He practiced all week, and that's what gets into it. Like, he was cleared to play in the game, but there's a big difference between I'm cleared to play in the game, I'm not going to be 100%, but I can't make the injury worse, and I'm cleared to play in the game, I'm not 100%, and this 1 to 2 week injury could turn into a 6-week injury. And those are always big differences. And so, for us, we'll see how he responds this week, and hopefully with the type of, when you're looking at a hamstring issue. We did an MRI on Friday. It came back much better than we thought it would be, but, not still at 100%. So we wanted to be pretty precautious to, in meeting with the medical staff, that there was a pretty solid feeling if he didn't play in the game and we're ahead of where we were, that he would be 100% by this Saturday.
And then you mentioned tackling. Was there anything in particular that stood out as kind of a consistent issue with that, or?
Yeah, we got a little bit of leverage. We got out leveraged. I think didn't have ourselves in the proper leverage on two big missed tackles during the course of the game. That was one, and which are very small adjustment things, and then the ability, you got to go finish tackles. They have good players too, so, we got to make sure we're finishing up and we're physical to finish the tackles.
Nick?
Coach, I think you talked about it your first year. Lost to Georgia and then kind of lost to Missouri that next week, and not letting one loss turn into two. Obviously, you'll need to see the team in practice, but is that something you addressed with them, or something you look for in the way that they approach practice today?
Yeah, I didn't go back to that game. I think, this team has expectations. I don't know if many people thought, outside of our locker room, probably a lot of people think, I don't know if Florida has a chance to win the game, but our guys expected to win the game, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, they're pretty disappointed that we didn't. We thought we thought we should have won the game coming into it, and then we got to correct those things. So I think we're at a little different point as a program than we were right then. But nonetheless, we still have to, we're going to have to turn it up a big notch for Saturday. So it's not as much reminding in that loss and the mental state of our team where we were then to where we are now. This team has high expectations for themselves. I think with our players, obviously you wanted to win that game, and it would put you in an even better position than we're in now. But losing that game doesn't really, I don't have a vote on the college football playoff committee, but I imagine we still have a lot of control over how this season's going to be played out. And so we have to gather our focus, our mindset, got to get physically, mentally prepared to go play a really good football team here on Saturday.
I think there's a guy a couple doors down from me that has a vote now.
There is? Oh, who's? Oh,
Scott.
Is he, I don't. Is he still on it? They haven't started yet, so he hasn't disappeared. So if he is still on it, he starts disappearing. He starts disappearing like mid-October, late October, whenever it comes out.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll go Chris Harry and close with Edgar.
Dan, I know you said that you guys didn't win the game and the players expected to win the game. Is there any element at all, because these guys are on social media, and social media is just drowning the Gators in praise with how they played. Is there any element to going to, or is that what practice is all about? How you're going to see how they react? Is that what you were talking about?
Well, that's what I want to
You
see.
think-
There wasn't much praise or happiness or smiles this morning in the team meeting. I can tell you that much because we didn't win the game. As I said, there's some positive things that we can take out of it. And there's some things that we have to get corrected. And it's making sure we embrace that, let's not lose what we did really well. Let's actually build off of what we did well and do it even better. And let's find a way to eliminate some of the errors and the mistakes. And, whether it's in everybody, all of us, I don't care if you're a coach, a scout team player, a student trainer. I mean, how are we let's embrace what we did well in our preparation, our performance, and find a way to build off of that and find a way to eliminate the negative things that happened during the course of the game.
Thank you.
Yep.
You started to say water boy.
Yeah,
I
I corrected myself right there. Student trainers.
Yeah, Dan, thanks for all the time, as always.
Is that it? Oh, are you going again, Edgar?
I am. I am because I want to follow up on the swamp.
Yeah.
So you never coached in a swamp that wasn't sold out when you were here with Urban. And they're tougher to come by in this day and age for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You're also probably the only person in America who keeps talking about how much more you want to play Alabama. But how important is that, getting teams like that in here to get fannies in the seats?
Well, I think it goes in two different phases, right? Which is not just our home fans excited to see somebody new that we haven't played in a while, but also visiting fans coming to a stadium, right? For example, last year we went and played Ole Miss. Obviously, there were restrictions within the stadium. I would have said because the Gators haven't played in Oxford in a long time, we probably would have had a big traveling crowd go to that game. You look at the stadium this week. There are a lot of, obviously we were packed. But maybe what pushes it over the top is there are a lot of Alabama fans because they haven't been to the Swamp in a long time, that they come as well. So I think it's a combination of everything that, if every other year you can see the same game, is it that exciting that much? Or every other year, hey, okay, we're going, we're going to Kentucky in 2 weeks. And, and then we go to LSU. And if you're a Gator fan, you say, well, we do that every other year. And so, maybe once every couple years I'll go make that trip. Once every 6 years I'll go make that trip. And then, hey, in that time period, they come here 3 times. I'll go see 2 out of the 3 games, because I've seen that one before. And as you say, with the ability to watch it on TV, with all the different availability to see games, what makes it exciting is I want to be in an atmosphere that I don't see all the time, and I think that's what that was. If you look at our probably the 2 biggest crowds, I'm guessing, since I've been here were Alabama and Auburn, right? And they're the 2 least teams that come here the least, and that's the biggest crowd. That's the ticket that people want to see. So I think if we rotate it more, there is more rotation. You see more flexibility within the scheduling. I think it's certainly going to help attendance and excitement and interest in the games.
Dan, you're going to kill me, but can I ask you about your boy John Hevesy real quick, please?
Sure.
One last one. What is it about playing for him? We know he's hard. You should hear him on these things. We can't even transcribe the guy. He talks so fast. But what does he do? What buttons does he push? How does he get these guys to play so physically and improve constantly? Because it seems his lines always seem to get better, and he's got a good one going right now.
Yeah, I think he's tough on the guys. I mean, he's like he's kind of like a wine. He gets better with age sometimes. So as the guys get older, like kind of if you drink it too soon, it's a little sour. So maybe the young guys come in and they're like, it's a little sour right now. And then they kind of appreciate it through the years and understand. I mean, he really cares about his players. He really cares about his guys. number one. And he has a high standard, and he really wants to see them do well and improve and play hard. And I think when players come in and they look at a coach, even though he's really tough on them, and as you said, sometimes he's hard to understand, I think guys early on kind of are like, boy, this guy's just grinding me. And then as they get a little bit older, they realize, hey, this guy really cares about me, and he really cares about my improvement. He really cares about me becoming a great player, and he's grinding on me for me to become my best and to hold me accountable to be my best. And so that's why I think when you see, especially we get some older guys within the line, they perform at a high level because they understand that.
Excellent. Thank you. Have a nice day.
You guys too.